Here are a few more policies and procedures that it's worth going over. One is the academic honesty policy. In the TCC Student Handbook and Planner, also online, you can find this whole thing online, but you can also find the parts of it online on the TCC webpage if you just search in the little search box. We have the Academic Code of Conduct for students, which goes through all the different rules and policies that we expect you to abide by and that we hold you accountable to. And some of those policies are a little bit surprising. For example, we have a new e-cigarette vape policy, which is that e-cigarettes and vaping are the same as smoking as far as where you can do it. So you can't vape inside or in the no smoking areas. I know it's just vapor, but still, that's what the policy says, and so that's what we'll probably hold you accountable for. The Academic Code of Conduct also includes off-campus behavior, which is a surprise to a lot of people. So for example, if you are at FSU game day on camera looking like an idiot and you're clearly identifiable as a TCC student, like I am today with the TCC stuff on, they can get you in trouble here. That has happened at other schools, and it's a standard thing in a lot of academic code of conduct now. Basically, making the school look bad is a violation of the code of conduct, and you can be held accountable, even if you were at game day down in Gainesville or in Miami. If you did something that TCC felt reflected badly on TCC, they consider you to be a representative of the school at all times, so they can hold you accountable. So it's worth looking at that code of conduct. A lot of the policies are the sorts of things you would expect them to be, but some of them aren't. I went through this already. We are allowed to withdraw you if you miss more class time than the class meets in a week. I could withdraw you on your second absence, but in my department, they set the policy for me, and in this class, I will withdraw people on their fourth absence. That means that you could miss 3 times. You would miss a lot of work if you did. I don't recommend it, but if you miss 3 times, you're still in the clear. On your fourth absence, the day you're absent the 4th time, then I will withdraw you. The thing to notice about withdrawals is those do not count as completed classes. That is relevant for financial aid. Financial aid keeps track of your GPA, but it also keeps track of the number of classes that you complete versus the number of classes that you attempt. An attempt is any class you've signed up for. This class is now an attempt at the end of today. If you drop the class during the drop add period, that is today or tomorrow, then it doesn't count as an attempt, it's just gone. But if you're still here Wednesday, when I get to meet you, then it's an attempt. If you withdraw from the class after that, or you are withdrawn from the class after that, you'll get a W or an AW, administratively withdrawn. On your transcript, it'll show up that you took the class, but you won't have a grade. Those all count as attempts, and you need a certain percentage of completed attempts to stay eligible for financial aid. Also, and this is worth reminding people of, if you withdraw or you are withdrawn, you're going to have to give back financial aid for that class. Any Bright Futures money you were given for the class, you have to refund that money, because those are monies given to students who finish those classes. So if you don't finish, you have to give that back. So our policy for this specific class is 4 absences. I just mentioned that already. Different classes have different policies, so you want to follow the policy for each class. You want to look it up. Here are what count as excused absences. The only excused absences are the ones that TCC officially recognizes. For me, when I'm counting attendance, if you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. And it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter if you were sick. It doesn't matter if you had a doctor's note. It doesn't matter if your mom died. It doesn't matter if your car accident happened right outside campus right before class and you couldn't be here because you were not talking to the police. None of that matters. It's not excused. Absent is absent. Excused or unexcused doesn't matter. On the bright side, that means you don't have to worry about providing me with documentation. And also, I'm not going to care about whether you were excused or unexcused. I'm going to let you make stuff up. You can always make things up in my class. It's always worth it. You're always going to still get credit for it, even if it's late. You get more credit the earlier it is. The later it is, the less it's worth. But you don't have to worry about bringing me an excuse. I don't need that. because it doesn't count as an excuse anyway. Here are the only things that count as excuses, exceptions to the absence policy. For jury duty, court-mandated appearances, and college-sponsored activities approved by the president, and religious holidays, with prior written notification. If you have to go to jury duty, you have to bring me a jury duty note before you have to go to jury duty. That is before your absence. You have to warn me in advance of the absence, and it has to be one of those things. If you got to go to court, you'll have a summons. If you've got to go to school-sponsored activity, what that means is if you're on the TCC basketball team and they have a game, if you're on the TCC softball team and they have a game, etc., and the president of the school will give me a letter. For any excuse that TCC offers, you need to go get it signed by the TCC president or one of his official designees. So not much counts as excused. If you know you're going to have jury duty and it might take a week in this 3-week class, I would really strongly recommend that you take this class in some other semester instead of taking it in the 3-week class. But I will acknowledge those excuses. It'll just be that you'll have to make up all that work, which will be really, really hard. So basically, excuses, unexcuses, it doesn't matter anymore. That was a high school thing as far as I'm concerned. Any student who feels that they have been unreasonably denied an educational benefit because of religious beliefs, jury duty, or other court-mandated appearances should contact the Vice President for Academic Affairs if you have a problem with my attendance policy or my excuse policy. That's who you talk to. So my boss's boss's boss. So you can go right up the chain of command and get me in all kinds of trouble. But they'll probably have my back. Here are some rules about financial aid. I was just mentioning this a moment ago. You have to go to class the whole semester. You also have to earn, ultimately, a 2.0 GPA. They give you a break-in semester where it's a little lower, but gradually the GPA requirement goes up until it becomes 2.0. You should just think of it as a 2.0 GPA. Get good grades and you're good with financial aid. You also have to complete 67% of the classes that you attempt to stay eligible for financial aid. You got to do the paperwork every semester and give them whatever else they want, documentation of the information on your paperwork. And eventually, you have to complete your degree within a certain time limit. If you're working on an AA degree, that is a 60 credit degree. Financial aid will pay for up to 90 credits worth of attempts. So in other words, at some point your financial aid runs out. If you repeat a class too many times, you'll have to pay for it out of pocket. If you take too long to graduate, you'll eventually have to pay for classes out of pocket. But as long as you come to class, you pass your classes, you get good grades in each class, then you'll be fine. But notice, suppose it's your first semester and you fail all your classes. Now your GPA is a 0. And next semester, let's say you repeated all those same classes and you got A's in all of those classes. Now, the second semester, your GPA is a 4.0, but that averages with your first semester, and now you've averaged to a 2.0. So you're good. After your second semester, your GPA is back where it needs to be, and you'll be eligible for financial aid again. Suppose, on the other hand, your first semester, you sign up for a whole bunch of classes. Halfway through, you think you're going to fail them all, so you just drop them all. Now you have W's for everything. Next semester, you come back, you take all those same classes, and you get A's in everything, so you've got a 4.0 GPA. The first semester that were all W's, those don't count in your GPA, so your GPA is a 4.0, which is excellent, much better than the 2. But you've only completed 50% of the classes that you've attempted, so you won't be eligible for financial aid in that scenario. So certain students would be better off finishing with an F rather than withdrawing under certain conditions. If you wind up in that boat where you're not sure you're going to be able to finish that class, talk to an advisor about which one would be better for you, whether you want to withdraw from the class or you want to wind up just taking the bad grade in the class. My general recommendation, and TCC's general recommendation, is go ahead and finish out the class. Do the best you can, because if you repeat it, you're going to be better off if you kind of learned it the first time than if it's all new the second time. So I would say, even if you think there's no chance of getting an A in this class, or no chance even of passing the class, if you push and you learn the stuff at the end and you got a C on the final, even if you still wind up with an F in the class, you're going to be much better off when you repeat it, because it'll all be familiar and you'll have done a lot of the hard work already, so you're better off the second time. TCC allows you to use your financial aid at the bookstore at the beginning of the semester. The financial aid comes about 3 weeks after the semester begins. In our semester, that means financial aid will arrive basically right at the very end of the semester. I think the 24th or the 25th is the day that financial aid will drop into your account. But you can go to the bookstore and you can use your financial aid before it's dispersed to you. You can go to the bookstore and say, I want these books, please look them up and count them against my financial aid. And they will credit it against your financial aid award. Then when the money comes, it'll just come less that amount. This semester, in summer, you've got a lot of time to do that. The last day to get financial aid in the summer is May 19th. The last day to use your financial aid in the bookstore is May 19th. That gives you 10 days to still go and use your financial aid. But if you're taking any B-term classes, you should go ahead and get the books for those classes too, because again, it's going to end on the 19th, whether the class has begun yet or not. If you wind up with a book that you didn't really need, you can return it later, as long as you didn't unwrap the paper, the wrapping. So go ahead and get all your books now. This is the book for this class, and yes, you do need it. I'll go through the details of the book in a minute, but buy your book, please. You need the book. I'm going to assign a lot of work out of the book. Have the book. When does financial aid come out? After you have been verified that you've been going to class. You can't get financial aid until you go to class. So as soon as I get back, I'll put in who's been in the class, and then financial aid will know it, and then they'll begin the process to disperse your aid. You also have to stay in the class. Near the end of the semester, I'll be asked again who's still here. And if you aren't there, then they will block your financial aid or they will reclaim your financial aid from you. So you have to go to class the whole semester to qualify. Yeah, that's all the same stuff. Every class has a syllabus. What is a syllabus? It's a contract between the instructor and the students, basically. That's one way to think of it anyway. It's a set of the rules that I'm going to follow. It's a set of the rules that you're going to follow, or that you're going to be expected to follow. And it's also got some advice, some general, here's what you should do in this class. Every instructor is required to give you a syllabus, and every instructor is required to follow the rules on their syllabus, but different instructors are allowed to write their own rules. So you want to make sure you understand for each course what the rules are. Our syllabus is posted into Canvas. I'm not going to hand it out to you on paper. So one of your first assignments is go to Canvas and get your syllabus. Bring that to me on Wednesday. I will go over the syllabus in some detail on Wednesday when we've all got it and when I'm finally back. Maybe I'll be here Tuesday, I'm not sure yet, but I'll go over the syllabus on Wednesday. Go into Canvas, find the syllabus. There's two versions of it. There's a viewable version and a printable version. The printable version has little tiny type, so it takes up fewer pages. Print your syllabus, bring it into class on Wednesday. Then we'll go through all the various rules and policies that I have to cover. This is a web-assisted class, as I mentioned before. There are some requirements that you have to use the internet for. One of them is this. I'll have 3 or 4 other assignments where you have to do them online, and you have to do them through Canvas, so you'll need access to Canvas. You access Canvas the same way that you access Passport or your TCC email, the same login, the same password, and I believe Tracy should have already gone over that with you by now. But again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask him. There's also an app for Canvas, and a lot of people have been positive about the app. It's a little buggy, but it works better than trying to access it through the web on your phone if you have that kind of phone. Last comment on the policies and procedures to make is that there is an online lab that the book talks about, but we're not going to use it. So there's some pages at the beginning of the book that say, go get your lab and sign up and buy the code and all that. Don't do any of that. Don't worry about it. We're not using the online lab. Don't pay extra for it. If you do use it, there's some nice stuff in there. If you want to, you can access it, but it will not connect back to me, so I won't see the work that you did in there. So there's no point in like turning it in. Thinking through it, watching their little videos, doing the activities is fine, but it won't get you any credit in here because I won't have access to see what you did. So don't worry about the lab. All right, now it's time to talk about some assignments.